Joe Davidson sees some of the best men's and women's hoopers here regionally. Joe, we got the women's game in a fantastic place right now.
Wow, great hoops going on. Take a look. I gotta show what I'm repping right here.
Oh, hey,
let's go, baby.
I saw Caitlin Clark last night, and she just never ceases to amaze. Great ball skills and passion and shooting. If she just had a little bit more range, that would be great. If she just cared a little bit more, I suppose. No, that's and I agree with you guys. She's got to be on the shortest list of all-time greats. What an inspiration. I wrote a story this week in the Sacramento Bee about some of the underclassmen stars, and I got ripped in an email. Shame on you for not mentioning Caitlin Clark and blah blah blah. I said, well, the story wasn't on her. It was just about the upcoming players. But fair point. I think a lot of these kids model their game of versatility after somebody like her. The days of the big post player, the big 6'3" girl who can't handle the ball is over. These girls grow up handling the ball and shooting the ball, and they become such skilled players. I was watching ESPN highlights last night, and they were showing the Tennessee South Carolina game, and I was thinking, look how elite these players are. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's really good. And we saw a sample of it last year with the Sacramento State women's team that qualified for the NCAA tournament. And, it's, a lot of people bag on girls basketball and women's basketball. Well, we'll bag on them. It's a pretty good level of ball. And, I certainly appreciate it.
That era, I think, is ending, by the way.
Oh yeah,
that era is coming to an end where people are smartening up to this game a little bit.
Yeah, they hooping. I mean, you still got to weed out some people. I know a couple weeks ago.
We'll weed their asses out. Don't
Michael
worry.
Porter Jr. was on there sounding ridiculous. You see what he was talking about?
I can't stress enough. I don't care what Michael Porter Jr. thinks about anything. Anything.
I agree with you. He sounded crazy.
Shut up and dribble, bro.
He definitely sounded crazy. But I agree with you. I think we're coming to an end of that type of mindset. Joe, you see a funny story. So I get up a couple days a week with my son. We go to the gym at 5. We get there at 5:30. We wake up at 5, get up at 5:30 because it's the only time we can really get it done. He's got to go to school. I got to get ready for work. We got the baby, all this other stuff. And almost every time we go, we're usually the first ones there in the gym. So we get, a basket and we can do what we have to do. But almost every time we go, who's there, Joe? Nina Kane. Every time. 5:30 in the morning. She in there getting it in. She's already top 30 in the nation out of McClatchy. She's a sophomore. It's the middle of her season. You know what I mean? But about 5:45, she come rolling in there every time we go in there, putting in that work. And I think she's the next great one out of this area.
I think she is. She's a junior, actually.
That's right.
But you're right. She that's the key for all of these terrific student athletes, for so many of them that I've covered over the years. That's why I still like covering the local beat. And there's Cameron Mafua up at Folsom, the number 1 seed in girls Division I, and she's going to Cal. She could have gone anywhere in America. Relentless work ethic. There is the terrific Harper Peterson, 6'3", forward center, guard skills. She's at Whitney High School up in Placer County at Rockland, in the Rockland area. She's going to Stanford. You don't just get into Stanford. You've got to be a terrific student. Same thing, relentless work ethic. And she said during the COVID spring of a few years ago when she was a freshman, she spent hours every day with her father out in front yard, out there in the front yard basketball hoop, just working on her game. And so the players who really want it, they pour themselves into it. What's they all say? You can control your effort. You can also control your ability to get better. And I would say people won't agree with this necessarily, but in my 30 plus years at the B, I would say that the girls' basketball game has been stronger than the boys. We've had more girls go to big time college programs than the guys. And I'm trying to think right now, do we have any of our players in this Sac Joaquin section basketball playoffs that are signed with Division I programs? And I can't think of any. Not that they're not good. It just shows that it's that competitive. But we have Nina Kane, we have Cameron Mafua, we have Harper Peterson, just on a small list of players who are going to big time colleges. And that's something that we've seen for years and years and years. And it's not letting up anytime soon. And the thing about girls is they could be 4-year starting varsity anchors. And they're more mature, younger. They're just the skill set is better. I saw Kennedy girls play Franklin of Elk Grove Unified the other night. Neither team had size, but both teams, they're fundamentally sound. They're setting screens. They're moving without the ball. They could all handle the ball, and they all are pests on defense. And that's how you make up for those things. And Kennedy is playing at St. Mary's of Stockton tonight, which has Jordan Lee. She's a 5-star player, 2,000 career points, McDonald's All-American, going to the University of Texas. And, so there you go. We're seeing layers of greatness, and I think it's awesome. I applaud it. I really do.
You know who I thought was the best I had seen, and maybe I still hadn't seen one better in this area, was Vicky Ball. I thought Vicky was going to be like Candace Parker, the way she was. I know she had knee issues, and that really hampered her, but she was a problem.
Yeah,
she was about 2007 or so, 6'2", post player, guard skills, national recruit at Sacramento High School, the old gym and hotel pavilion. And Pat Summitt came out for a recruiting trip, and that's when Tennessee was the standard, and people just kind of, that's Pat Summitt. That's greatness. And terrific player, all-time great, but undone by some bad luck with knees. It just couldn't hold up. And that's unfortunate, because I think she could have had real greatness. And I think she's bouncing around coaching. She's done a little high school coaching around here locally, but she's still giving back to the game. Another all-time great is Danielle Viglione from 1992, Bill Campbell graduate, played for the Texas Longhorns. Still has California records for most career three-pointers. That's right when it first got going. Played a little bit in the WNBA. Still teaches the game with camps and clinics, and so is still based here locally. So, she's giving back. Another one, an all-time great, is Mackenzie Forbes. Was with Folsom High School, 4-year starter, helped elevate that program. Went to Harvard, so it tells you what kind of student she is now. She's a graduate. Transfer at USC, which has been nationally ranked. She's starting there. She plays with flair. She's fun, flamboyant. I think she's going to be a WNBA player. She's a 6-foot guard who's got some family lineage who's played over the years. So we see it everywhere.
WNBA. Give me that name again. What was that name again, Joe?
Mackenzie Forbes, Folsom, USC.
Folsom. Mackenzie.
He's writing this down.
Folsom. All right. What year is she? What class? I mean, just for my own.
Yeah, there you go. Graduate, transfer, senior, and and then we have a girl. There's a girl. We had a 3-time B Player of the Year, Janiyah Harrell from Antelope here in the Sacramento area, and she's down at Stanford, and she's not playing a lot, and I know she's frustrated because she's a competitor. We had a girl from Oak Ridge High in 2010, won the state championship, Sarah James, who went to Stanford and didn't play her first 3 years. And I got a hold of her, said, "Do you ever think about transferring?" She goes, "You never transfer out of Stanford. You don't work hard to get into Stanford and then try to get out." And then she started her senior year, and now she's running the world somewhere. So, it's hard to get into college, but you don't just bounce out. I do see guys transferring out of Stanford. Maybe they don't see the same vision as the girls. I'm not sure.
Maybe classes are too hard.
That's exactly right.
I was in the gym that night. Pat came to see Vicky.
She was at Sac High.
Yeah, she came to Sac High. Like Nikki.
Pat came to Oak Park.
Yeah, Nikki Caldwell came first, like a few weeks prior, and then got a call that, hey, Pat's coming to see Vicky. So Pat met us in Natomas, and we went out to Sac High. And I was thinking, like, are they gonna, like, this is like, what's the reaction gonna be?
Yeah.
when I say eyes, it was that was a moment. That was a moment that I was like, oh, the impact of this woman on this game is second to none.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Jason Jones, who's a frequent guest on your show and longtime running mate with me at the B, went back to Tennessee one year to do a profile on her and on Vicky Baugh, and she was struggling with knee injuries then, and but she grinded out 4 years, and now she's on the shortest list of all-time greats. And the first great girls basketball player we had was about 50 years ago. Denise Curry at Davis High School in Yolo County was a two-time All-State State Player of the Year. Still is the all-time career scorer for UCLA, men or women, and played in the Olympics and played overseas, coached collegiately, and 6'2", was way ahead of everybody in that era. And back in those days, in 1974, 75, 76, she played 3 or 4 sports, and Title IX was just getting going. She once told me years ago that they had to use the same uniforms in volleyball, in basketball, and in softball. Now they have, it's come light years, and she was a real pioneer in that. But I think she would if you take Denise Curry from 1975 and put her in today, she'd still dominate.
So funny about all that stuff. Like Kara came to see a young lady in this area, and it's they know ahead of time, and it's front center court. The thing about Pat walking into, like, can you imagine the pressure? These are 16, 17-year-old, young people.
Right.
And whether it's, Pat or Kara or Mike Krzyzewski or Coach, you imagine the amount of pressure on you in that moment when they're there to see one person. They're there to see you and nobody else.
Yeah.
They're only there for you. Man, that is just
a lot, man.
That is an
and to consider that Pat Summitt could be anywhere in America. Yep. She could have been recruiting somebody in Tennessee or Texas or Florida. So that's pretty heady stuff. And no, it's really cool, and it's not slowing down. And then we have a small school like Colfax, way up in Placer County, that's in the playoffs for a record 41st consecutive year. They've had players who go on to big schools, and some school, but they're homegrown. So even the smallest schools, so it's not just specific to the large schools that have the good players. Some of the best teams and best players over the years have been at the smallest schools.
Yeah, man. I love this time of year. I love, the playoffs, everything that's going on, man. And it got started on Wednesday. And I wouldn't say too many upsets or anything else like that, but I know, and I got to give a shout out to the young homie, Aiden Rollins. That's family right there, man. And I saw you were at that game. That was probably the premier game around one, Folsom and Franklin. Would you
yeah, that was a really
terrific
game. And Franklin won, Elk Grove Unified, Franklin Wildcats. And Aiden Rollins is a 6'3" sophomore guard. And he's so composed and he's mature. And then he's motivated by the loss of his father, AJ Rollins, who is from Fairfield, who was a key player for the St. Mary's Gales of Moraga in the Bay Area in the late 90s, went to the NCAA tournament, and he had a 7-year courageous battle with cancer, 17 surgeries, and he died in May. And he got to see his son play varsity basketball a year ago. And the son AJ is mature, likable. And he says, yes, I play in honor of my dad. And he said what he suffered through in his plight, and his body is slowly going away. His attitude was great. He goes, so I can't complain about anything. And he's like, that's a pretty strong reminder. So that's a motivated young man. And that kid will be a Division I big time prospect. He can handle the ball, shoot, defend, and he's mature beyond his years. So kudos to him. And his father's looking down with pride to say that kid's playing the right way. Good leader, good kid.
Absolutely. Love that family. Loved AJ. When we moved back to Sacramento, my son, who's 11, at the time he was 7 or something like that, and Aiden's little brother, Alex, they're best friends. So that's how met AJ and met the family and all this other stuff. And AJ was a great man. And I'm glad to see Aiden doing all those things.
Aiden's doing a great job. I think I called Aiden AJ, but it's his father's AJ, and Aiden's is the junior. And could you imagine? You're talking about the pressure. Damien, about having a big time coach in your gym. How about the pressure of trying to live up to your family's image and legacy and being heartbroken? There's a maturity about, Aiden Rollins, and I think he gets it from his parents, and his mom still comes to all the games. And so when these kids play in honor of somebody that they've lost, that's a pretty powerful deal. That's really cool that Kenny, that you know the family, and he's legit. He's the real deal, and he's just getting started. And Franklin's a young team. They play tonight against the number one seed, Modesto Christian. Yeah, and so Modesto Christian will be heavily favored, but Franklin Wildcats with Coach Ken Manfredi, they're fundamentally sound. They got athletes. They'll go down there and compete. They're not going to lay down. No way. And the other team in the Elk Grove Unified has been our number one team for most of the year, and the other part of the year it's been Rockland. But Monterey Trail of Elk Grove Unified won its first playoff game in the 20-year history of the school. Tonight they play against Lincoln of Stockton at home, and another showdown in Division I. These are all Division I. The Sheldon Huskies of the Elk Grove Unified play at Rockland, which is 26-2. So we may have the winner of the Rockland Sheldon game, if the seeds hold up, will play at Monterey Trail. That's really good basketball. That's
Sheldon
really
and Rockland is tonight.
Yeah,
correct. And then Monday's a semifinal, and then another game of note is the Inderkum Tigers of Natomas are playing at Western Ranch, which has got a 20-game winning streak. Western Ranch is of Stockton, one of the best three-point shooting teams in America. So a pretty stacked Division I field. In the Division II, you've got the 1 and 2 seeds. Jesuit Marauders been around since 1963, and then Capital Christian just ran a big story on them. They're the number 2 seed, so they could be in the section finals. It's really good basketball. I think it's awesome. And how many times have I told you guys it's the best value for your buck if you're looking to do something local. If you don't want to get out the Golden One, or if the Kings are on the road, go check out a high school game.
That's awesome. You talk about pressure. You living up to families' names, or Pat, Kara coming through. Hey, Joe D's here tonight.
Come on. Hey.
I know you live that
Joe
pressure.
D's in the building.
Hey.
Ooh, you better show out.
Joe D's
you
here.
better show out. Joe D in the building, bro.
Joe's like Pat. He could have been anywhere in the region tonight.
Hey, and look, when Joe D's in the building, like you see him come through the door, you see where he's sitting. Like, you don't, I didn't know Joe D was there. No, and it's time to go to work.
Well, that's why when I walk into a gym, I make sure I don't trip. You don't want to have a slow motion spill down. And then I always bring like a folder, because you always look more important when you're carrying a clipboard or a folder,
I look more important when I walk in with Kenny. That's what I do.
Exactly.
This guy, come on, man. He's the other Louis Vuitton Don.
No, it's cool. I did a story on the Kennedy girls basketball team the other day, and Kirsten Shimizu was an assistant coach and covered her in 2010, and we were recalling old stories. So there's always that generation gap, and that's kind of connecting the eras. And it's really cool. And I get people come up all the time and say hello, and I don't recognize a lot of them because they're out of uniform or they're 20 years later, but it's really cool. And, the one thing I've noticed, guys, and we've touched on over the years, is the games are well attended. And fans, we hear about how fans have been so unruly on the referees. This year, I think the fans have been really well behaved. And I think the officiating has been really good. And everybody complains about the officiating, but and the players are all business. And this has been a real trend. There was a while there in some 25 years ago where players would step over other guys, taunting, showboating, and that got all cleaned out. It got all moved out. And the CIF, the governing body, put in rules that if you get ejected for a couple technical fouls, and same in football, if you get thrown out of game, you have to sit out the next game. And that's really gone a long ways in cleaning up. And because people are watching. All the games are live streamed. Everybody's got cell phones. There's media. And so I'm so impressed with how these kids, they go out and just play. But these guys, the star players, are being heckled. They get taunted and heckled. And Caden Pinnock is our football star, large school football player of the year out of Del Oro. He's a terrific point guard for the Del Oro Golden Eagles. He gets taunted and heckled, and they kind of handle it. And Harper Peterson, the 6'3" dual star for Whitney High School, going to Stanford, she gets heckled, and they hear it. They're going to get used to it because they're going to get heckled even more in college. But, so, and a lot of times the administrators have to stand by the rooting sections to, hey, you're crossing the limit. Hey, that's a little boorish and all that. But for the most part, people are having a good time with it.
Hey, Joe, I saw something the other day that maybe you could help me understand. I'm a little old school. I didn't like it when I saw it. The section championships are on a Wednesday. What's up with that?
Yes, it's a little different. It was not by design. Divisions 1, 2, and 3, the section finals will be at Golden One next Wednesday. And then divisions 4, 5, and 6 will be held Friday at UC Davis. Normally they're all at Golden One, but I think there's a banana concert, and I think that's going to, that prompted change. The CIF, the governing body, has always had a great working relationships, whether it was the Maloof ownership group with the Kings to Vivek Ranadive ownership group with the last several years, to work together. And basically the arena is given to the high schools at cost. And but the caveat is you've got to be flexible on your scheduling. And so it's not perfect to have section finals on a Wednesday. But boy, if somebody said, hey, would you like to play for a section championship at Golden One where the Kings play? Yeah. Okay. It's going to have to be a Wednesday. Okay. Well, they're not going to turn it down. So it's not ideal. It's going to be a school night. So we may not see the rooting sections and the bands, but hopefully some of these schools will say, this is unique. We got our team out here. Let's go. And then UC Davis is stepping up to help out. And that's a great venue. And so it'll work. It'll work. And we got semifinals on a Monday. I've never seen that. Throws my Monday off.
I'm used to that Friday, Saturday for the finals. So I saw that. I was like, man, what happened?
Every once in a while, we'll have that wrinkle. Every once in a while, but it's rare. Normally, it's. I had to do a double take. And I said, "Is this right? Is this right?" And nobody's really complained about it. They'll probably complain on Wednesday because they'll play semifinals on Monday. So it's quick turnaround. But these are teenage legs, man. These guys could run for days. Right. You've seen Rollins from Franklin. They could go for days and days and days.
State championship still on Friday, Saturday, March 8th and 9th, I think.
That is correct. Back at Golden One. And I got to look this up. And when I find an answer, we'll jump on board and update. But this might be the only state in America that has section playoffs at Golden One and state finals in an NBA venue is what I'm saying. That's a nice treat. And everything has to work. The schedule has to work. You can't have the Kings playing the same night. You're not going to have it at halftime, sort of thing. So that's kind of a, some people will say, oh, the tickets are pricey. Well, but you get the venue. You got the venue, and the CIF wants people to have this wow experience. They want their players to remember you played in this great venue, and they want the fans to see it. And so kudos to the Kings ownership and management group for still making it work, though there's going to be wrinkles, and you're going to have to shift schedules a little bit every once in a while, not very often.
Mm-hmm. Joe D, when I say you are the man, sir, I mean you are the man. Thank you for always making time for us.
I appreciate you guys. Always good to see you. And I don't understand the Orioles hat there by Kenny. People who aren't watching, he's wearing a grin and
the orange rim. The O's. I just got the O's Orioles hat. I got a lot of Giants hats. Love my Giants.
It matches your D-Lo and KC lettering on your shirt.
KC gear is popping today. Yeah, but I like Baltimore. My wife's family's from Baltimore. I've been there a couple of times in the last 10 years. But I like it out there. It's cool in Baltimore. Good. So
that's good enough explanation. Yeah. You know what we do when we do this stuff is we ask questions and we learn, and so does the audience. That's what we're all about.
That's what we do. We learn. We appreciate you, Joe D. Thanks, man. Look forward to talking to you again here real soon.
All right, my friends. We'll see you soon.
Take care.